Okay, hi guys. I'm in the middle of doing my hair for the first day of school tomorrow because we go back to on campus, which I am very excited about because I've spent this entire summer wearing kid-friendly t-shirts and cut-off jeans so that I could be a nanny and not look like I was going to a club because that's how all my clothes look, but it's totally fine. So while I am doing my hair, I want to talk about identities. So recently I've just been doing a lot of I've been on the internet a lot, put it like that. Like when I get home from work, because I work 2 to 3 jobs at a time, and right now I'm working two. So I would go from shift one to shift two, then I'd come home and I'd be like, I don't want to go to bed. I want to stay up as late as possible and use all of my free time. And I love, as you can see, I love to sew. I recently took up knitting, but for the most part, I'm just too tired to do anything productive. So I end up scrolling, and I'll go on Tumblr and I'll go read fan fiction, and sometimes I'll get into conversations with people, and yeah, that's basically who I am as a person, as you probably could guess, because who else makes a YouTube channel than someone who actually really enjoys the internet? Especially someone like me who updates and posts whenever I feel like it. I've given up on the idea of becoming a YouTuber. This is just for fun. And so today we're talking about a subject that is for fun for me: identities. So last video I posted was on basically why I don't really feel non-binary is a valid identity. Didn't get too many views, didn't get too many responses, which is kind of fun, I guess. It does show that one person who really had a hate boner for me after that Creepshow art debacle thing is gone because they kept like downvoting every video I made. But that's besides the point. So anyhow, that video was basically talking about why I think that non-binary is just a symptom of the really yucky society we live in. And on the other hand, we also have these cores, right? You have cottagecore, regency core, dark academia, right? You have e-girl, you have soft girl, you have visco girl. And I specifically would like to talk about how all these aesthetics are very consumerist. And although they're fun, they're not a good thing. Basically, the internet is rotting our brains, just in case you didn't realize it. So, step one. How does this work? So if you don't know what aesthetics are, basically they are collections of images and vibes that people tend to like. So they're based around different ideas. They really got big, like super duper big over the course of the pandemic. That's when cottagecore got big. And I did make a video about cottagecore before, so I will try to link that somewhere in this video. But essentially it's just you like something, and so you group them together with all the things you like, and then you call it a name, and by putting a name on it, you make it into a thing. Basically you give the concept a name, and then you make it into a concept, not just a vague idea. So one of the most popular ones right now, like I said, is cottagecore. It's basically yearning for a simpler life, usually a rural life. It's a lot of farmhouse vibes, it's a lot of spending time outside, it's a lot of, basically when you think of cottages and Anne of Green Gables, that is basically the aesthetic, as in the images, the type of style, clothing-wise, they're going for, as well as the kind of activities, baking bread, going mushroom hunting, foraging, all of that stuff. Other examples, for example, could be found based on Bridgerton, which brought Regency core, which is like basically dressing like you're from the 1800s and acting that way. So, tea parties, reading Pride and Prejudice, the Empire waist dresses, which I think look like maternity dresses. If you're thick, you cannot wear them. I made one. I looked like I was pregnant. It was a maternity dress because I'm too thick for something with that high of a waist, and I don't have enough titties for it to work. I'm unfortunately not Daphne Bridgerton, which is, I knew that, but still. And so on. You also have dark academia, which is basically reading those old white authors that a lot of people don't like reading. I'll say that. I do like reading some of those books. But people do exist who like reading those books. Staying up late, studying in the library, coffee, sweaters, plaid, schoolgirl outfits. That's basically the aesthetic for dark academia. And there's a bajillion in between that, There's a million other versions of different things that you can dress up as. And this is one of the things that got super popular in part because of internet communities and because we spent so much time on the internet last year. We're still spending a lot of time on the internet. Like, I can think of maybe I go out with a friend once a week, and that's it, besides work. And it's only recently that I'm even getting close to my old social life. And I'm not saying I was the most social person, but like, it's been hard. It's been hard. So people are spending so much time on the internet that you like to classify things. It's human nature, right? When you learn a phone number, it's broken up into like those little groups. You like to compartmentalize. When people sort things, they put books in order by height, by genre, by whatever. You like to put things into groups. And for the most part, I think that aesthetics are very similar to style. For example, the emo kids, the band kids, grunge, prep, jock, basically the same categories we would use for high school, but they're smaller and more niche. Now, where my problem arises here is that they're so commercialized. TikTok is very quickly commercialized. Anything that's trending on there gets picked up very quickly. Now, for like artists, like I guess Ash Nico, Lil Nas X, that's great. I'm very happy for them that TikTok brought them fame and money. I do really like their music and I hope that they do well. But for cases such as fashion, for example, grunge originally started in Seattle, Washington. It was basically we're refusing to buy the fancy stuff. We're going to shop at secondhand shops. We're going to look as dirty and yucky as possible. So they were wearing flannel because it was cheap and it was affordable. Doc Martens are being overproduced, so again, cheap and affordable, easy to find, and so on. But when it got picked up as a wider brand, suddenly you have these paper-thin flannels that aren't going to keep you warm from anything. You have these jeans that are in tatters the day you buy them that won't last more than 4 washes. Doc Martens now cost like $100. All of this is new. And it kind of ruins the entire point of grunge, which is basically comfort over all else and, sustainability. And we've done this thing where basically we commercialize everything all the time, right? Any trend that gets popular, I see Forever 21 advertising cottagecore in their emails for the past like half a year. That's probably an aesthetic that's here to stay, to be honest. And I do like it, but like, or like Target would be showing like the most bland, like just beige pillows and be like, this is cottagecore, guys. Baby, it's not cottagecore. You don't know what cottagecore is. Sorry, I get really upset when people misunderstand internet culture, and it's like, if you don't know, I just be quiet. But essentially, things that were just internet niche. Like when you grew up on the internet, especially like I grew up on Tumblr. I've been on Tumblr for 6 to 8 years now. I don't really remember because I deleted my first one. But I've been on there a long time. I see all the jokes before they get popular and get put on TikTok or Twitter or screenshotted on Reddit. I've seen the Lolita blogs and the aesthetic blogs and the hipster blogs, all that stuff. It used to be like a private little in-joke. And now you don't really get that with the internet because the minute something becomes big, it's going to be turned to something you can buy. Like even, for example, nerd culture. It's so commercialized now. Like Marvel movies used to be, I guess, more intimate. Now they're just formulaic. And it goes for basically every single thing. And so with these trends, people are using them like they use identifiers for their personality. They're trying them on like phases. Instead of going through your emo phase, now you're going through cottagecore. So now you have to not only have a cottagecore wardrobe, but you have to have a cottagecore hobbies. You have to drive a cottagecore car. When you're sitting in your room, you can't just play video games for cottagecore. Now you have to go learn how to knit and bake bread and mushroom forage. You have to put on this whole performance that you are enough of this aesthetic to be able to call it yours. You have to perform. And in some cases, I don't think that's good either way, but in some cases it's not as bad as in others. For example, cottagecore is relatively harmless. You bake more bread than you really wanted to, but you took some cute Instagram pictures and didn't really harm anything. What about bimbofication? There is a girl on TikTok who keeps trying to portray bimbofication as if it's some kind of liberal feminist take on what is intrinsically a misogynistic character. A bimbo is a woman who is dumbed down and only available for sex. So I don't care what you try to put into it, you can't change how men and society at large is going to view something. In the same manner that someone can call themselves non-binary, but you can still tell by bone structure and voice, etc., what your birth gender was, what your birth sex was. Like, you cannot force society to perceive you the way you want to be perceived. You know all those memes on TikTok that are like, I'm performing femininity, but in a subversive Anne Carson, blah 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 kind of, no, you're performing femininity. It doesn't matter for what internal reasons you're doing it. What only matters is how it shows on the outside. Looking on the outside, if you see someone wearing a tiny pink mini dress with blonde hair talking like a valley girl and particularly dumbing herself down, you're not going to think, wow, that's subversive. You're going to think that's a dumb blonde like we have seen on TV forever. It doesn't matter what your opinions are there. All that matters is, hey, this is how you're viewed. Now, I will say, I understand where these people are coming from. You want to take back images and stuff that you like, and you want to basically create something new. You know, it really does feel like sometimes fashion is very cyclical. It feels like a lot of the stuff that we get into has already been done a million times. If you don't have anything nice, if you don't have anything new to say, you want to come in and be like, yes, I am new. I've got ideas. Pay attention to me. And so these aesthetics are just getting more and more split. It's splitting hairs. And when you try to subvert, you try to turn into your whole personality, for one. That's something that's like number one. You're commercializing your personality towards performance. You are your own voyeur, except this time we're not talking about the man inside your head and insisting that when you're in your room by yourself that you sit sexily. We're talking about just thinking the world is there watching you. You have to perform whatever thing that you arbitrarily are into, and you can't be a fully realized person. Individuals have hobbies. Just because you use a label to describe one of your hobbies does not mean you have to be entirely that one label. I like to create art. It doesn't make me an artist. I like to sew. It doesn't make me a fashion designer. I like to read. It does not make me a writer. It does not make me a librarian. And that's something that I think we really, really do need to learn. So this, dear viewers, is our part. Thank you so much for watching. I do apologize that I look a mess. I'm trying to do my hair for the first day of school tomorrow, and I still have a lot of other stuff to do. I think I burned off a layer of skin using Nair, trying to make my legs look nice and pretty for what, I guess, because I'm wearing jeans, but I'll go ahead and post this on the channel, and you guys, if you get this far, let me know, what do you think? Do you think these aesthetics are really worth anything? Are they just commercialized versions of the stereotypes we used to define ourselves by in the 2000s? Do you think our society has hope for the future? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time.